I guess I can go ahead and roll forward or roll through it. My name's Lee Fjord. This is my beautiful wife, Meagan Fjord. And as Gino and Jake mentioned earlier, I'm pretty sure I was member like a single digit original member of the group when they first started out in 2016. Was an avid listener to the podcast. Was at the time a property manager running a property management company. I manage single family houses down in Florida. Um, you know, fun fact, I am an avid skier and
We're about to go skiing in the next couple weeks or so.
yeah, we'll be in
So
Tahoe.
excited.
Yeah.
We go to Tahoe every year. Yeah, we
Tahoe,
got
these
family.
rich real estate investors, Gino, going all over the place to Tahoe and Vail and
Oh,
all this,
Great
That's what
place to
allows.
raise capital.
Yeah.
But Lee, let me ask you honestly, what drew you to multifamily? I mean, you're in the property management business. You're managing single family rentals. You're in a nice area. You're in Destin, Florida, correct? You're in a really good market, weren't you? What attracted you to multifamily?
I understood by running the management company of houses that more roofs under or more doors under one roof was just going to be that much more efficient. After building it up and seeing the pain of individual single family home investors, I realized that really wasn't the way.
Mhm.
And I actually got inspired by several of my clients that that was just their second home and that I was managing for them. Actually, it was their other second home that used to be their second home because they upgraded and bought a bigger one. And they were all commercial real estate investors, many of them. So I got inspired by them and decided to, the bigger it was the direction that I wanted to go and in multifamily.
Thanks for sharing that.
Follow the money. I love that.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well,
Oh,
I guess
I
we're
got
gonna skip over your life.
No, go ahead.
So yeah, I met Lee in 2020. In 2016, I was actually transitioning off of active duty for the Navy. I served 9 years active duty and got into real estate in 2017, just as a part-time agent on the residential side. But in 2020, I got into real estate investing. I started with a duplex. And I met Lee several months later, like right before I was about to close. And, he very quickly had me catch the commercial bug.
Oh, yeah.
And we've been working together ever since. So
That's awesome.
I actually was on Navy Reserve duty today. So I'm rocking some military hair today.
So yeah, I joined and that was, when I didn't even know Meagan, but at the time, I did not have any education on a commercial real estate standpoint. I had education in real estate, I had education in property management, but I didn't have education for multifamily. I wasn't focused. I was, shiny object syndrome. Should I go do a storage facility? Should I buy a trailer park? Should I, buy single family houses? Maybe I would do a wholesale project here or there. I had no focus. I also had no network. I had no sphere of influence, no people who were already doing the things that I wanted to be doing in my life. And I realized that you really need to have those in order to be truly inspired and know which direction you want to go. So joined the program, started getting educated in Kajabi in the education platform that they utilize for the Jake and Gino program, and found my true North Star. It was commercial multifamily ownership, and established a relationship with so many members of this community. It was wonderful. I went to all of the boot camps and started going to the money mixers, and Meagan even came to one. And after I met her, we still go to those and we love them because it's a great opportunity to meet new friends and potential business partners.
I was going to say, actually, the very first commercial multifamily real estate event I ever went to was your event in Knoxville in 2021. I think it was like April.
Money mixer.
And that was my first time like meeting other commercial real estate investors and actually understanding the concept of multifamily at the larger scale versus the single family residential multifamily. And I remember leaving that conference and being like, okay, Lee. Let's go do
We
this.
kept our doors open, folks. That's all I'm going to say.
It got her on board with what was my then already established North Star. So if anyone in this room is inspired and wants to get educated and wants to invest in real estate, go to the, the Jake and Gino events and bring your wife. This is not some, separate thing that you should be doing on your own. If you're, I'm just speaking from my own perspective as the male, but bring your wife with you, have her come to the event, meet all of the other people that are doing things, have her get inspired, because then she will literally be the water that lifts your boat for you. And
Yeah,
Megan's
yeah.
been supportive ever since then.
What I'm hearing,
women-
Lee, now is Lee, you owe Jake a box of chocolates for making that happen. Okay, so
Yes.
okay, and
Yeah,
he
there
wants
we go.
a nice gift. Don't be cheap. Don't be a cheapo to Jake. Okay,
No.
you got to hook him up. It's Christmas time. All right.
You're getting Godiva, the good stuff.
Right?
The
I'll
good
take it.
stuff.
I have to say, like, before going to the Jake and Gino, when I was still, learning real estate, before going to that first event, I was very much so why don't we just own 100% of it?
Yeah.
Like, why do we need partners? Like, wouldn't you rather have 100% of something?
Duplexes are great.
And yeah, and after the fact, I was like, oh my gosh, I can totally understand like why like the team sport is so much better. Like you really rising tide raises all ships, and you can just leaps and bounds go so much farther with a team than you can ever on your own. We all have these limits, and you can't get past your limits unless you start partnering up.
Have to partner.
You
And
made
the best place to find them is at the events.
Yeah, you made such an excellent point because multifamily is a team sport. And what you did is you actually learned something, you educated yourself, and your paradigm completely shifted of the way you saw something. You thought you knew something, but then when you experienced it, like we're experiencing this call right now, all of a sudden you're able to say to yourself, well, that map, that paradigm that I used to have, it was good for my old self, but for my new self, where I want to grow and I want to continue to put more assets and I want to continue to buy more, it's not going to work for me. And that is awesome to see that and to be able to experience that with Lee is really cool to do it together and to say, okay, how do we continue to expand this? Keep coming to the events. Lee keeps putting in the work. Lee keeps doing these webinars himself, keeps raising the capital, touring around, buying deals in different markets. That's how it ends up, how you can grow this business.
Yep. We always said, would you rather own a slice of a watermelon or a handful of grapes?
Yep.
And that's like the perfect analogy.
Yep. Took that away from y'all.
Love that.
And, how did joining the group help me be able to close my very first deal? And I define my first deal as, a commercial sized multifamily property, like houses and duplexes don't really count. Is I got inspired by other people who I met that were already part of the group that were closing deals themselves. I mean, if Jake can do it, I can do it. I just want
There's
everybody to know. Yeah,
There's no doubt.
literally. And you get coached. I got coached by one of the great coaches that are part of the organization, Chris. He helped me go from 11 units on my own to hundreds. I think by the time he stopped coaching me, I was at 500 orders by then. And it built my confidence by having the coaching, having the framework, having the steps in the process designed for me and helped me know where to go. So that's how, helped me close my first deal. And today we're actually going to be here to talk about and learn about my first decent sized property. Actually, yep, there we go.
Yeah.
So I remember closing on this deal and it happened on the flight to MM3. So on the flight to MM3 in Orlando, I got the text message from my broker as the flight was taking off that we closed on this deal. It was 2019. It was my first decent sized property. So it had taken me almost 3 years to get to a place from where I joined to where I did my first decent sized deal. And that was on me. If I started harder, faster, earlier, my velocity would be, it'd be a lot further along than I even am today.
He was stuck in some of those level of effort, like you were saying, properties that were holding him back a little bit.
Yeah.
I remember talking to Lee. He was doing a lot of the painting, a lot of the spackling, a lot of the plumbing. I remember that he was stuck with, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's your journey, Lee, and that's how you were able to overcome that, to find this 38 unit, and now you're doing deals in the 100 unit plus. That is part of your journey. You'll never go back and say, I wish I would have done something differently, because look at this deal, 38 units, 1.3 million. It's brick. It looks really freaking awesome. For this one deal can set you free. All you need is one deal, and this one deal can absolutely set you free, my friend.
It was a mess when we bought it. It was 1960s C-class in a D-class neighborhood that was surrounded by C-class neighborhoods. So that felt good. Like it felt like it was in the path of progress.
Yeah, I'm originally from St. Louis, and when he told me where this property was, I was like, ugh.
You have to start somewhere. So I found a partner who, I was, went through the education. It was go find a partner that can help you qualify for debt and raise money. So I partnered up with an ex-NFL football player. He had more money than time, and I had more time than money and a deal. So we jumped together, bought this 38 unit. We purchased it in October 2019. We put about 250 into it. It was a straight JV deal, no equity raise, no none of that. So, St. Louis, Missouri, my backyard, and definitely a C class neighborhood. And that C, I'm kind of a little iffy about whether I would consider it C. You can kind of see
brick
the
looks
numbers
really
there.
nice, man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was why I bought it. The brick
Yeah.
and the
They're pretty.
doors and the windows, the roofs, everything was, the bones on this property were great. That's why my turn costs were only $4,500 to go from, metal cabinets to, wood cabinets and vinyl in the kitchens. And, we just polished up the floors and painted it.
Yeah, and to Lee's defense too, is this asset is one of the youngest assets in the neighborhood that it's in. The neighborhood that it's in has a bunch of assets that were built at the turn of the century, 1900s. Yeah, and it's one of the best looking assets curb appeal wise in the neighborhood as well.
Yeah, we bought it right. We negotiated into the purchase a seller credit of $55,000 for deferred maintenance on the property. What did that do? That dropped the amount of cash we had to bring to the table on the closing day from a little over $250,000 to 260. It dropped that down to 205. So we only put in my partner and I only started with this with a total of about 250,000 in cash total. So we took about 250,000 in cash. We acquired the property, put it under bank debt, and started cash flowing. Or did we? So as you can tell, we were doing all these unit turns, and I mean, we were taking them from nasty to beautiful and achieving beautiful rent bumps. I think the average rent at the property was about 500 when I bought it. And we were getting, I want to say 750 when we were done with our remodel. So you put $4,500 in your unit and you're getting a $250 rent bump. You get that back in what? Not even like 20 months.
Year and a half, exactly. Well, Lee, you know what's really cool about it? If you stay on this slide real quick, I want to give everybody a tip right now. That seller credit, as we're entering this market cycle right now, don't be afraid to ask for credits or that word retrade, and ask for a concession. If you see something and it's a valid concession, a year ago, they would laugh at you, but that's why the opportunity is now in multifamily, because now you're going to have the opportunity to get
completely flipped. It's completely changed.
Yeah, so that's really cool. That happened in 2019, and that went away for the last couple of years, but now that's coming back. So really, really great to see that happen on this deal as well.
When I learned the tool of the seller credit, I've applied it on as many deals as I possibly could since starting out. Like, because the difference is huge on the overall, return on investment when you adjust it just by a little bit, 20%. So what lessons did I learn? Well, when I was at MM3, I remember I had the VIP ticket. I went into the VIP lunch and I told Jake, I'm going to call myself Mr. Make It Happen. I even introduced myself to the group. I said, I am Mr. Make It Happen. I'm driving, around in a van full of tools. I'm fixing units. I'm changing out toilets. I'm painting walls. I'm doing all the work.
Proud selfie in front of Home Depot.
I even went as far as to, that's me proud, standing in front of Home Depot with a handful of receipts and they're all wrinkled and I mean, not doing it the right way at all. So, fun thing happened in 2020, COVID hit, and I decided, oh man, I don't know if you can see, but these yards, they were nasty weeds and mud, and every time it would rain, mud would flow into the sidewalks, and they were nasty. So COVID hit, and I was like, well, I don't have anything else better to do. So I'm going to go buy 15 tons worth of gravel, and I'm going to have them deliver the gravel to the property. And me personally, I'm going to wheelbarrow all of this gravel from the outside, out front of that property to fill all those planter beds. And let me tell you, that's a long way to go. At probably from one end of the property where the gravel was to the very furthest bed was easily 200 yards. Like, it was a long way, maybe not 200.
I'm sure you got real strong.
Yeah, back.
That
my
was your
back
wedding prep, it sounds like.
It was.
I was.
learned.
I'd still be doing that if it was me. I still finished that 15
Yeah.
tons of gravel.
It was kind of, I was like, well, I don't have anything else better to do, so I'm going to do this. So laid the weed barrier, did all of that, added value, which, is a wonderful thing to do, but something that's certainly not scalable at all. So I learned, don't be Mr. Make It Happen. Even though I put on my signature of my email, still to this day, Mr. Make It Happen.
There's
Like,
many ways to
sincerely.
make it happen versus just moving
There's
rock.
many ways. Exactly.
There are.
Still
I
a
will
good
say this
content.
though, I think everyone needs a 1 to 2 hours a week of physical labor for sanity. I really do
Amen.
believe that. If you take away one thing from this call, get outside, do some physical labor for 1 to 2 hours a week. It'll set you straight. That's all I'm going to say about that.
One day we're going to cut a tree down. That's going to happen.
In our yard.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So I always use creative negotiations when I purchase property, whether it be seller financing, seller credits, assuming debt, asking for roofs to be replaced by the seller's insurance policy that's found during the due diligence period. We've done that multiple times. Always use creative negotiations whenever possible. Hire management companies slowly. I transitioned management companies on this property 3 times. I had 3 different managers on this property in 30 months.
It was a disaster.
In 30 months, 3 separate management companies. Just painful.
Not only that, your management companies.
Hire your management company slowly, and fire quick is, just the same with normal everyday employees if you have any. And then one thing I learned with this property is constantly test market rents. Always raise to the next level to see if you can get it. Don't get comfortable at 650. And by the time I sold this, we were in the or 750.
Yeah.
We were teetering on 800 in a property that we bought for
500.
like 30 a door.
Yeah.
I mean, it ended up just being a scenario. Keep testing market rents. So here comes the good part, the sale. We purchased the property for 1.3 million. It took about 250,000 really, because we had a little bit of reserves. 250,000 in construction money, which we actually just reinvested all of our cash flows. So we didn't take a nickel out of this deal. We just reinvested all of our cash flows. We were okay with that, not taking a single payday. So that's where the vast majority of that 250,000 came from. So all in, our basis was 155. We sold it for 2.5 million. We paid a broker to do it. Brokers are a wonderful tool. Don't try to do everything yourself. Once again, don't be Mr. Make It Happen. Be Mr. Delegate.
No, just don't be Mr. Do Everything.
Yes. Don't be the do-all. And we owned it for 30 months. My partner and I split 850,000 in profit from this deal in 30 months. And we started with about $250,000.
So, Lee, my question to you is, how many houses do you have to property manage to earn $450,000?
You have to manage about 200 for 2 years.
So that's
At
a lot
least.
of homes you're managing, right? So this is one little, like I said, one little 38 unit deal. It's proof of concept, and you're getting your feet wet. You bought it right. You managed this thing properly. It was financed really well, and that's the end result. Great job.
Oh yeah. Well, that's not it. It gets better from there, because I didn't just continue or start, I started doing decent sized deals. So we took the capital, my partner and I, from that deal, and we used it to be the largest single investor in a 506B syndication that we then turned around and purchased in Hot Springs, Arkansas. So I learned my lesson. St. Louis City is not where I want to invest my capital. I want to invest my capital in growing markets. By then, Megan was, with me, thankfully, yay. Megan came along, and this was our, second syndication? Yeah, second syndication.
Third at that point.
Third. This was our third syndication. Prior to this, we did a 272 unit as well. But we did a 506B syndication. Purchase price was $7 million. We did once again a $200,000 seller credit on this deal. We're investing $1.35 million in construction money. That is a construction loan from our regional bank lender. So that kept our raise nice and low. The raise of that was only $2.5 million, of which my partner and I we paid our taxes because we didn't want a 1031. We wanted to just wipe it clean and start over. So we paid our taxes and we each invested what came to right at $750,000 that we ended up investing into the deal. Utilize cost segregation depreciation to reduce some of the gains off of that previous project.
Ooh, and I have to tell a quick story on the pain point of this deal. I specifically remember we got this property under contract off market. It was from another buyer had it and then introduced us to the broker because he was backing out. And after we got it under contract, our lender who had gave us our pre-qual let us know that the board was not going to be able to lend on this asset because they were over leveraged.
Yeah.
So we went into this deal without debt.
Yeah.
And having the community available to help us get some introductions was extremely beneficial in that moment because we didn't want to lose the deal. So we definitely had to heavily lean on the network at that point where we were happy to have Jake and Gino's group and other people who have met and partnered with in the industry because it's not, it's who, not how.
Yeah, it was actually Hadar. Hadar owns property in Arkansas. When our lender pulled the ripcord and said, never mind, we can't do it after we were under contract.
And I think we had an accelerated closing period too because our debt was already locked in.
Yeah.
We had like a 45-day closing period.
We made some pretty serious promises to close the deal.
Yeah, those are some sleepless nights.
When did you close this deal?
We bought this it's been a year and 2 months. October of
2021.
21. No,
Was it 20? No, it was
22.
So you guys are really employing what we call the conveyor belt. You started a smaller deal. You got it on what we call our conveyor belt. You let that equity matriculate. You just pulled the equity out because people are saying, how do I get money for my next deal? Well, you buy a deal, you add value to it. You can either refinance it. In your case, you just trade it up. You're like, I don't want this 38 unit in St. Louis. I'm going to take that money and I'm going to go find a better market, a different market, or a better asset and put that money there. So great job. And this is awesome. This deal looks great.
It gave us the opportunity to be a large LP on a great syndication as well, and that is, if our underwriting is correct and if the business plan goes as well as we hope, which we always wanted to, and believe me, we're going to ensure it, that our equity will then double in the next 5 years. So that $750,000 for our partner and ourselves will turn into $1.5 million in 5 years. And we'll just keep that going every 5 years until it becomes enough to never have to think again, think about money again. Just keep it on the conveyor belt.
Lee, do you guys have anywhere where everyone listening to this can get in touch with you guys to learn more about your opportunities that you have?
Yes. So first, if you want to get educated, you should scan the QR code and join the Jake and Gino group, first of all. Second of all, I don't know where our QR code went. Oh no, there was a QR code.
Well,
I don't even know where those things come from, to be honest with you.
So it's pretty easy to find us is at greenforestcapital.com. And you can, or our Facebook, Lee Fjord, there aren't very many Lee Fjords in the world. So FJORD, find me, reach out, send me a message through Facebook, or you can book a call at greenforestcapital.com. There's the QR code. It just didn't show up when we were screen sharing. So take out your phone, scan, book a call with me. Would love to have a conversation. Whether you're interested in learning about investing or, whether we passively, I'm an abundance mindset guy, would like to talk to anybody.
We can help you anyway.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Folks.